Hi everybody, welcome back to Dance Geek's Halloween week. Today's video is truly horrific and terrifying because I'm going to be reacting to dance mums. All jokes aside, I'm not a fan of the show. I think it has a lot of negative impact on the dance industry worldwide, mostly coming from Abby. Now, whether she's playing a character, and that's not what she's like in real life, it kind of doesn't matter. Because that negativity that she presents on screen has had such a huge impact on the industry worldwide. People think that's how you should behave, that's how their dance teachers should behave. Most dance teachers don't behave like that. No, it's awful. But what I'm going to be doing today is looking at two routines, one by Brynn, one by Maddie. My understanding is that in the episode where these routines aired, they were pitted against each other. Abby was very much putting them in direct competition with each other, which, don't do that. Don't put your own dancers from the same studio, the same company, don't put them against each other like that. Anyway, both of these routines have very dark themes to them, and they're both about infamous true stories of horrific deaths. Brynn did the Black Dahlia and Maddie did Lizzie Borden. Very intriguing real life cases and have had such a huge impact in media, the arts, performance, visual art, movies, all of that. Representations of both these stories seen prolifically. So these routines are considered two of the darkest, if not the darkest, solo routines done on Dance Mums. I didn't watch either of these when it aired. I think I only watched like season 2 and 3, and then I just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I've just watched snippets. So I've actually only seen these once each. And that was when I was like, oh, I'm putting this in my Halloween week. It has to go in there. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to first react to the videos as a dance judge. So I'm putting my dance adjudicator, dance competition judge hat on, and I'll react to the dancers that way. I know these routines are made for the American competition circuit, and there are some differences. There are some different expectations and scoring systems, things like that. But I'm going to judge these as if I was at a comp here in Australia or wherever, and I judge them the way I judge things. I don't tend to take it out on the kid if the choreography is bad, unless the choreography is damaging in some way, whether physically or in the issues it projects, or if the costume is inappropriate, that kind of thing. If I think that people seeing that and then me rewarding that would send a really wrong message, then I will penalise the routine. But if it's just not particularly clever choreography, I don't really deduct much for that. When it comes to judging what is presented on the stage, I split my scoring system absolutely down the middle, and 50% of the mark goes to physical technique and skills, and the other 50% goes to all of the artistry and artistic elements. Now, that artistic elements part, that's where things like crappy choreography versus insanely good choreography, that's where those things will start to play out. So as an example, if you have two dancers and they're both really, really neck and neck as far as their technique goes, but one of them had so much more to work with artistry wise because the choreography was amazing and it really captured the audience, well then that dancer is just they're gonna score higher as far as I'm concerned, because they've been given something more meaty to work with, as opposed to a dancer who's just got a nice song to dance to and just a bit of a smiley face. After that, I'm gonna put my dance teacher choreographer hat on and then critique the works as pieces of entertainment, pieces of dance, and pieces of dance in these girls' education. All right, so let's get into these dancers. Let's have a look. I'll link the video in the comments, in the description, sorry. I'm going to jump straight into the dance. So Brynn's up first. I'm going to try not to react to the clips from the judges and if there's like audience members or people side stage, that kind of thing. Just going to try and react just to the dancing. And I'm going to do this the way I normally, well, not normally, I'm going to do this the way that it happens at a dance comp. We don't get to stop it. Okay, so for my dance adjudicator, dance judge reaction, I'm going to be just watching it through. Very effective opening.
Hello.
Would like to see a little more subtlety in the makeup. It's far too exaggerated even for stage.
Much more now than many
Beautiful
years
extension.
ago.
Just try to stay over the toe of your supporting
Take me
leg.
home, please. I don't wanna go, please. Said, honey, say your words. She was wearing all black.
Love your musicality. I can really see you're feeling all the counts, even those half counts. Try to absorb the landing of your jetés through a stronger plie. Same with the aerial. Really absorb the landing. Beautiful control out of that coupe turn. Quite nice work on the penché. Try to lengthen through the sides of the body a little more. There's some really great work coming along here. I'd like to see more attention paid to this character, to the mystery behind her. However, I feel that might be a big ask given the age of this competitor. So perhaps rethink the suitability of this Black Dahlia story to this age group. But there's enormous potential in this dancer. Great work. Now we move on to Maddie.
Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden.
I feel that every time I do a solo, Abby expects me to win, and I do get a little bit stressed out sometimes.
Great costume and prop, very suitable for this routine. Love the makeup. Try to hold your character and facial expressions as you prepare for that pirouette. Like you did in these alla seconds with directional change. I can really see the character staying there through those turns. Quite nice elevation in Petit Allegro. Just watch the details of connecting with steps. You have a great face for stage. You really use it well. Quite nice use of acrobatics. There's a really strong commitment to this piece and some very good technique developing here. I felt this was really suited to this dancer, the character. However, I think the music was not quite in keeping with the story of Lizzie Borden. Just putting some... no, I'd phrase that nicer. I'd rather see a little bit more authenticity paid to the details of the story. There was never any man chasing Lizzie or creeping up behind her. So if you're going to do a true story, then really pay attention to the details and the historical fact. However, from a performance technique and artistry point of view, this performer is incredibly gifted and very committed to the piece. Well done. That's the adjudicator, Claire, the dance judge, Claire, reacting to those dancers. Now we're going to go back, see a little bit of the backstory, as in some of the other stuff from the episode, and this is where I'm going to be reacting more as a choreographer, as a teacher, as a theatre director, that kind of thing. Okay, what is that wig? Seriously, what is that wig? And the makeup. Okay, yes, the Black Dahlia, she was found with her mouth slit to the side, but we're talking an adult woman whose mouth was slit. I think they reckon it was about 2 to 3 inches. So what, about that big? Not all the way out to here on a child. She looks like the Joker. Had they just left it at what we see at the start here as just the shadow underneath, it probably would have translated a lot better. But the other thing was when they pour all that blood down her face, one of the really intriguing and creepy AF parts of the Black Dahlia case is that the precision of the cuts and the mutilation of this poor woman, they know, because of the precision, they knew this was someone who had medical training. Those gashes on her face, no, that doesn't resonate with what actually happened in the case. If you're going to do a real life story, know your facts. Just have a little bit of respect. We're talking about an actual woman who lived and was murdered. Show some respect to the story, to the actual real life story, and get the facts right. That comes down to the teacher. Sorry, it's got to be said.
Really competing against Maddie's name. And I've said this to Brynn several times. Like, you don't have to dance as good as Maddie. You're gonna...
Okay, quick note on Maddie's makeup here. That they did a great job on this makeup because it's subtle, but it's and it's impactful enough that you'll see it on stage. There's a ghostly quality to it, but Lizzie's not a ghost. She's not alive, but do you know what I mean? Like, she's not a demon or something. It just gave the character a little bit of evilness, put it within that sort of haunted house horror vibe, but we can still see the dancer's facial features. You can still see Maddie coming through telling this story with her face. With Brynn, the combination of the wig and the Joker smile with heaps of blood all the way out to here, there's no person there. There's no kid underneath that. So even though the artistry wasn't great, she could have been performing like crap under there and we wouldn't have seen it. I don't like the crop top. I think this costume is so thrown together. You don't have to be historically accurate and authentic with the costume in this sort of thing, but don't put her in a crop top and a dodgy 2-layer tutu. It's so not... Stay on your toe, stay on your toe. And I think this piece of music it's not something I resonate with because it's got a bit of a country feel to it, which isn't my thing. But there's something about it that really fits with the Black Dahlia story. I just don't think the dance choreography works with it as well. And this is where we're going to compare this piece of choreography to Maddie's piece of choreography. You could definitely take this dance, and put another piece of music with the same time signature under it, call it Demon Bride, and it'd work. You wouldn't have to change a thing. Not good enough. That's not good enough. Not when you're doing something like this. They're trying to tell a story. They're trying to tell a true story as well. Show a little more respect. Like, freaking annoys the crap out of me. Sorry. That ponche, let's just have a look, right? Okay, so what I said in her thing, you can see here, her toes are gripping and you've got this little gap underneath, and we're starting to see, so that shows us that she's not actually in the toes. Her hips are not placed over the toes. Her hips are placed directly over the heel of that supporting foot, which we know there's going to be some issues here as far as holding it with a nice lengthened line. So now she's at the peak of it. The foot has flattened out a bit, but that's mostly because her chest and torso head area has started to pull everything forward a little bit, but the hips are still too far back and the hips are twisted. Now what happens when the hips twist is that the body then shortens through here, and it looks it still looks lovely because she's got beautiful legs and feet, but it's still looking a little contracted. Everything's a bit tight through here. You could make this better and safer by getting her to bring the hip of the leg in arabesque, so the leg that's in derriere behind her. Get that hip, put it over the supporting foot. Don't just think about the supporting hip over that foot. You've got to get the other hip over it. That then frees up the back and the sides, and you can lengthen, really lengthen out through it. That crunching in there can really do damage long term. Even short to medium term, you can do a lot of damage in there. If you've ever done, like, you're working on a particular skill in like derriere extensions, adage, that kind of thing, and you're working on that one leg over and over and you just get that soreness through there, it's probably because you're putting way too freaking much pressure into that side. There you go.
Obviously, you have incredible flexibility, but you had this beautiful, soft music, and then you look crazy. What is your character? What does the blood represent? That's the connection that I was missing.
Yeah, and that's not the kid's fault. Not being able to put that connection there, that's not the kid's fault. If the work doesn't allow her to connect them, the music to the character, the dance steps, there was no thought put into this. There was no artistic thought put into this at all. They got a song called Black Dahlia, because I looked up the song and that's what it's called. They got a song called Black Dahlia, put her in black. Someone knew something about, oh, she had her mouth slit. Let's do that. Cool, done. Not good enough.
You sparkle on stage, even with the blood and everything. You're such a beautiful presence on stage.
Yeah, she is.
You're a great dancer. The lines are there, the feet were beautiful, the control was fantastic. What's going to be the next level for you is the acting. If you do that, I mean, it's going to be a whole nother level. So keep up the good work. You are phenomenal.
To dancers out there, when you get a critique like that, don't focus on the negative as being the end of your career and you're not going to make it. Okay? Because every single one of these judges talked about how brilliant this kid is and how much potential she has. Because it's bloody true. The acting side of it, that's something that not a lot of dance teachers can really, really teach, because there is an artistry in dance, there is an element of acting in dance, but it's not inherent in dance training. There's like, sometimes in very traditional ballet, there's you learn ballet mime, and there's a real system behind how that is performed. But a lot of the time, the acting side of dance, we just put it up to, put it down to, oh, use your face. Well, how? How do you use your face? What should I do? This is using my face, but is it the right face for that? Or worse, we tell students, think about a time when you felt like someone was going to murder you. If you have a kid who had a time in their life where someone was going to murder them, don't ask them in your dance class that goes for maybe an hour, don't ask them to draw on that experience. That's their trauma. Stop that. You're not a therapist. Could you deal with that? What if one of them actually says, oh yeah, I actually was almost murdered when I was 7. This guy tried to, and goes into this story that they haven't ever talked to anyone about, like that, you have to assume that's going to happen at some point. So stop asking these kids to dance their trauma. Teach them how to do that. Teach them how to dance these particular stories, or don't give them these stories. Because Black Dahlia was an adult woman who had considered a very shady sort of life. I don't think it was shady. So the woman had a lot of dates and a lot of boyfriends, more power to it, but it was considered shady. She had connections to people that were very shady, and she was found very, very mutilated. And if you can't have that conversation with the student, then don't give them the dance. If it's uncomfortable to have that conversation and talk about the fact that the main suspect ran a venereal disease clinic and he was definitely known to have associated with this woman and was probably paying off other people who were sleeping with prostitutes or they were paying him off because they were sleeping with prostitutes and getting venereal diseases as in STDs. If this is all becoming way too mature to talk to, what, she 9, 10, to a 9 or 10-year-old about, then don't give them this dance. Are you dumb, Abby?
Judges, next up we have number 302, Lizzie Borden.
All right, I'm going to pause this. Okay, my problem with the song. Whilst it's still debatable whether Lizzie killed her family, most people do believe that there was legal, yes, she was convicted, but then she wasn't. Her dad was found dead on the couch. They know he was killed asleep. There was no other man in the house who was walking up behind her or anything like that. So this piece of music is a freaking lazy cop-out because it's creepy. It's got a creepy kid's voice going, he's behind you. The murderer was a girl. If we're going with this story as it's normally, because there are other theories, but if we go with the fact that, yeah, okay, let's say Lizzie did it. And clearly they're going for Lizzie did it. She's holding the axe. She's got the blood on her. She's enjoying it, blah, blah, blah. Why is the song, why is the lyric in this, it's not really music soundscape, why is it talking about a man creeping up behind her? That never happened. Do your bloody research. It's not hard. Just watch a BuzzFeed Unsolved video about it. It's easy. Watch it for 15 minutes and you've done some research. I mean, you could be a little bit more intelligent about it, but you don't have to be. But this is... And I know there are issues with dance mums getting the rights to certain music. They can't just do everything because it's got to go on TV, blah, 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 blah. No, I feel like Abby has no artistic integrity whatsoever. Like, she doesn't have any connection to the pieces she's doing. It's just, oh, yeah, let's do that. Or the producers say, do something about serial killers. And there's no part of her brain that goes, perhaps not, considering they're 10-year-olds. See there? She kind of loses the intensity of her expression because she's going to do a pirouette. Integrate the pirouette preparation better into the choreography so the pirouette is unexpected, not step, step, I'm going to do a pirouette. Because I'm pretty sure Lizzie Borden didn't do pirouettes. That jeté is really good where the reverse jeté, and she incorporates the face and the body into it. And that's the thing about Maddie that is really quite extraordinary artistically. She does have a very expressive face. She's in the giant eyeball club with me, and that works on stage. It really does. We don't have to try with that. It's just there they are. But Maddie backs it up because, like, that reaching the axe forward, it's not just a here. She really reaches that shoulder through, and because she does have strong enough technique, that's not throwing her off balance. So, and that reverse jeté as well, there's that real, you can feel that energy from her torso coming forward. So that's why Maddie, it's not just Maddie face. There's more behind it with her. But Abby didn't teach her that. And I don't even think Gianna, who, let's face it, is any talent that comes from the choreography, it's probably Gianna. But Abby didn't teach Maddie this artistry, because if she did, all of her students would have it. And they don't. He's not coming. No one was. It was just her.
Maddie was beyond anybody I've ever seen on stage. It's just so amazing, and she is fabulous.
Well, this is a bit much, isn't she? I mean, there's being proud of your daughter, and then there's being obsessed with your daughter. But having said that, I haven't seen a lot. Like I said, I haven't seen heaps of dance mums. But I just find anything I have seen of dance mums, this is just a lot when it comes to Maddie. She's intense. But, you know, I'm a mum. I get it. Okay, so final thoughts. If they were the only two dancers in the section, I would give first to Maddie and second to Brynn. So from an adjudicator point of view, that's how my scores would have gone. I think if you just looked at who's the better dancer, like just technique, it's possibly Brynn. But like I think she has a bit more facility for dance, as in her body does things a bit more, like her flexibility, and is amazing, and she's got control over the flexibility, which allows her to do so much more. But like I said at the start, I don't judge just on artistry or just on technique. I do judge evenly on both. And I think there were just way more high scoring elements in Maddie's routine, because even though her technique might not have been as stellar as Brynn's, it's still bloody good. Yeah, and that's one thing that in general, the dancers that come from Abby's studio, they do have decent technique. However, speaking about coming from their studio, I did a little bit of research. Brynn wasn't entirely trained at Abby's studio. She came in at a later date. She wasn't like one of Abby's tinies and built up. She'd been trained at another studio and then came to Abby with this technique already there. So a lot of those dancers that have stunning technique on Dance Mums weren't trained by Abby. As a dance teacher, stop pitting your girls against each other. They're on the same team. As a choreographer, that piece that Brynn had was a mess, a piece of trash, and didn't have any thought behind it whatsoever. You did not do that girl a service at all. And if I was the mum, I'd be asking for my money back. I think the Lizzie Borden piece, whilst it did have issues like the music, there wasn't anything spectacular or interesting or different or challenging in it. It was a good competition contemporary piece. As a dance educator, both of these girls need to pay attention to a few more of the details and the basics of dance, like how you connect your steps together, making it a little bit more refined rather than like running into things with a slightly heavier foot. As a theatre maker, theatre student, theatre lover, stop giving kids adult stories. Just stop. And that's for everyone, not just for Abby. Just stop. Okay? I don't want to see a 10-year-old portraying a murdered 29, 30-year-old woman from the 1940s who slept with a lot of men. I don't want to see that. Lizzie Borden works because Lizzie was a young teenage girl. So it kind of does work. It's dark as but I still question, is Maddie's age at what was Maddie during season 6? I don't know, maybe save it for like 15, 16, that kind of age. So I hope you enjoyed my reaction, critique and judging of these two Dance Mum solos. I'm happy for you to leave comments telling me I'm wrong. I don't care. And like I haven't done a lot of Dance Mums videos, but I think I've got 2, and I know I'm going to get previous students of Abby's telling me that she's lovely, and I think that's great. I'm glad you had that experience with her. But what she puts out for the rest of the world is a horrible, horrible woman who has no place around children. Happy Halloween, dancers. Bye.